Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and today we're going to be making snowflake number 4. So our base this time is still going to be a teardrop shape, but this time I have wrapped it in a dark blue. So we've got one more to finish. Now I've already pre-coiled it. Just kind of line these up a little bit. I've already pre-coiled it here using my homemade quilling template with my Cricut, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and glue that together. If I can find my tweezers, which were right in front of my face. So we're going to glue this one, and then we'll shape it. Then we'll wrap it. So the coil was in it, a whole strip. Let's say that. It's a 10.5 inch strip. And the wrap is a half of a 10.5 inch strip, so it's 5 1/4 inches. Get that glue set, and we're just going to pinch it into our teardrop shape. There we go. And then we're going to take our short strip, or half a strip here, and we're just going to wrap it till we run out of strip. Now this doesn't go around 3 full times exactly, but it comes pretty close. Get that to set, and then we just start wrapping. Here's one, here's our second one. Give it a pinch down there so it doesn't go anywhere, and we're starting our third one. Pull it up, give that a little pinch. And what I should have done was torn this end off. I always forget that part, just because it makes it a little less visible where that seam is. That's too much glue, but you want to glue that down. Try to wipe off most of that. I'm just going to reinforce the point there. So once we've done that, we're going to glue everything together into our base for our snowflake. Now it's going to look like a flower, just like it did in week 3. That's okay. It's not going to end up looking like a flower. So you're going to want to glue those together. Like so. So before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and make this other piece, which is this piece right here that's going to go in between those valleys, or in those valleys, and we'll try to get it to stick up a little bit, or pinch up a little bit tighter. So we've got one more of those to make. So I'm using, again, a whole strip. This is 10.5 inches, and I'm using my comb here, which is actually a pet comb. You can get them on Amazon or at pet stores, certain pet stores. You can use any comb though. I just like the wide teeth on this one. And you want to wrap this end around 2 different teeth. Let's see if I can show you that there. See how that's going around both of those teeth? And we're going to glue that down. So we're just going to add a little bit of glue, except my bottle's gotten a little carried away. Trying to keep that down and glue that over. Yeah, it's a little messy because I had too much glue, but it'll be alright. So I'm just going to push it to the end here where I can line it up better. And give it a good squeeze. So in this technique, we're not going to keep wrapping like this. We're going to wrap down and around, back, down and around and back. And I just do it until I don't have enough to go anymore, and I think I get 4 loops on each side of this center. So you're going to go down right next to your previous loop, and then you're going to come back up and around that tooth. And then you're going to want to glue it on the back. I don't know why my glue is doing that. It's erupting like it's a volcano. So you're going to go down to the previous strip, next to the previous strip, and back up around that tooth. Add a dollop of glue, or a dot of glue, and we just keep repeating until we run out of the strip. So down next to the previous loop, and back up and around that next tooth. Glue on the back, and just repeat that on the other side. Get to a point where I kind of have to turn it so I can see what I'm doing. And when it's all said and done, you'll have about 1.5 inches, I think, that you're going to cut off, somewhere between 1 inch and 1.5 inches if you're using 10.5-inch strips. That will vary if you're using bigger strips or remnants of from other projects. Or if you're using a different comb where the teeth are spaced differently, that will also impact how much of a strip you need. I think we're just about done here. Okay, we're going to go up and back. There we go. Again, we're going to add a little bit of glue right here in the center. And we'll give that a good press. Once that glue set, we'll trim off that excess. Okay. You can do it after you take it off the comb if you'd rather. But you can see this is all we have left over. So it's not much. It is, in fact, yeah, right at 1.5 inches. Okay, so we're done with that comb. So next, I like to take and just kind of lift this little center loop that was our starter loop and just kind of pull it up a little bit so that it makes it easier to pull into a circle there, which then we're going to pinch. So you fold that where your loops fold in together toward the center, and then you pinch it at the bottom. Okay, like so. So now we're going to start gluing everything together. And I haven't decided yet if I want those sticking straight out or if I'm going to kind of loop them back into the center. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. So we will see once we glue these together. So let me kind of just move everything else out of the way. Try to get this lined up. Oh, and the other thing I do want to check is make sure all of my swirls are going in the same direction. And that by that I mean the inside swirl on each teardrop. Kind of get that lined up to where it looks good to start. Let's see if we can bend just a little. That's not too bad. So we're going to pull this one out. Of course, I mess up all the others in the process. And we're going to add glue to both sides of our teardrop. And we're going to just push it back into place. There, that's not bad. Alright, so I'm going to slide this one out and we're going to do the same thing. A little bit of glue on both sides of the point. Then we're going to slide it back in. So I'm going to hold these two in place. Well, not so much for holding them in place. I'm going to try to hold them in place. I probably should have squeezed that one a little bit more. There we go. What does that look like? That's not too bad. Alright, so we'll give this a second to dry before we glue these two halves together. Just going to keep a little bit of pressure on there. I keep meaning to make a little template, which I have one somewhere. I probably have a couple. So I'll know that I've got my pieces lined up accurately, but I get busy working and then I forget that I wanted to make one. Of course, I just got glue all over me. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of glue right here and right here. And we're going to push those together with the other half. It looks pretty good. Just going to kind of give it a little squeeze. You want that nice and set before you start putting in your flourishes in the valleys. So now we're going to take one of our, this is what I'm calling the flourish, and we're going to pinch it back together just a little bit. You don't want to necessarily pinch all of your loops closed, but you want to pinch the base of it nice and tight. And I'm just going to add some glue. And then we're going to hold everything still and just kind of push that down in there. Make sure it doesn't want to squirt back out. Sometimes they will do that. The stiffer your paper is, the more apt I think that is to happen. Right. Make sure it isn't glued to my mat here. Okay, so we're going to finish that with the next 5 pieces because you're going to have 6 of everything. And we're going to just add our glue. I'm going to come to the opposite side over here. I don't know that I need to do it that way. It just feels like just feels like the right thing to do. I cannot explain it. I simply feel it. All right. So 4 more to go. Now I did initially make one in blue, a lighter, it's kind of a medium blue. I'll just put that there so you can see it. I ended up not liking it. I felt like it was too dark. So maybe I'll use that on another one. I don't know. But you can do these in whatever color you like. And if you've got some pearl paper, sparkly paper, or if you have the patience to cut those glitter, what is it? It's not styrofoam, it's but it is foam pieces, you know, like you get at any of the craft stores. Oops, I've got a bunch of white foam here somewhere that my friend Bonnie gave me, but I've also got glue all over my fingers, so. But anyway, it's the foam, you know, the squishy craft foam. You can buy it with glitter on it. I have not worked with it because that kind of glitter tends to drive me crazy. But it would look really pretty in these. Now, you probably wouldn't want to work in as small a scale as we're working with here. But if you had the patience to cut all those into strips, those would make really pretty snowflakes. And I've seen a lot of people making Christmas type ornaments with them on YouTube. But like I said, that kind of glitter tends to drive me crazy because it's just, it gets everywhere. So this one we're going to go right in here. I'm going to kind of hold it while pushing it in as tight as I can get it. Okay, 2 more. So this is our 4th week. Hopefully there'll be 10 weeks. That'll be pushing it right up till Christmas, so maybe I should make it 8 weeks. But I've been saying 10, so I'll stick with that for now. And we'll do a different snowflake every week. Now these are all pretty basic. Some of them look complicated, but they're really pretty basic shapes. And this little flourish here today is probably the most complicated one so far. But they're really not complicated. They just look it. All right, last one. I do feel like this is going to need something else. I'm not sure what, but we'll see. Now I've got hiccups. Push that in, hold everything in place. There we go. So, what could we do? What could we add to this? I mean, it is pretty the way it is, but I feel like we could definitely add something to it. I think I need to get a gray piece of paper for the background because I usually use white for the background, but the white doesn't show up very well on it. So, let's get rid of some stuff here. So we will have to put a little something something in the center there. But it feels like it needs something either out here on these points or in the center here. I just don't know. Well, if you'll stick with me, I'll make a couple of little sample pieces here to play with, and then we'll come right back and see if we actually want to add anything. Alright, as you can see, I have made a few pieces to play with. Now, this was my first thought. I don't really like it. Maybe in a different color it would be pretty. I don't like it. It just kind of extends the teardrop, and to me it misshapes it. So I'm going to take that one away because I do not like that one. I'm sorry, I'm talking funny. I was just talking to my husband and I had an accent that I've never used before in my life. I don't know where it came from. Anyway, so these are some we've used before. This one's the same as this one. It's just taller. And I think it looks kind of cool there, but I think I prefer the shorter one. You could maybe even stick it in this way. Let me get it to sit still here. Although it won't come straight up. These will come more to a point if you had one on each side, which wouldn't be bad. It could work. Or we've just made this other one in blue that I had made earlier, and you would stick it in here like we did that one, and it would come to a point here in the center where this stuff would kind of match up. So you have a lot of options. I'm actually leaning toward this one. I think I like it better. I like the different color. It's a lighter color, so it kind of starts out dark and fades out to white and then a light blue. So I think I'm going to go with that one. So we'll make some more of those. But I also need something for the center, and that's quite a big hole in the center. So I think I'm going to just make a coil. Now, do I want to start with the dark or the light? I was going to start with the dark and work out to the light, but I think I need to do it the other way around because those are wrapped in a dark color. So let's do that. Let me rip off that other end before I get to it because I was planning on doing it the other way. So I'm just going to tear that off a little bit. And then I have some scraps here that I'm just going to intermingle every so often. So we're going to start with the light. So I'll use the white ones here once I get it going. So you're going to take your slotted tool and you're going to load your paper here. And then every so often, like I said, you can just slip in one of some of your scraps if you want. It's not required. I just like the way it looks. It kind of gives it that variegated look. Or, well, yeah, I'd stick with variegated. I was going to say ombre, but it's really not ombre. So I'll get that one rolled up in there, and then I'll do another one. I can get a hold of just one. There we go. I'm sorry, it's a little tricky sometimes. There we go. Except I've got it. Uh-oh. Look what I've done. Okay, well that's okay. We'll just finish rolling it by hand. It's not my preferred go-to, but I don't want to unroll it and start over. So we'll just do it this way. The bigger it gets, the easier it gets. That kind of snug. And I might just slip in one more piece of white because we've got some extra room there. So let's go ahead and slip in one more. And we're just going to keep rolling. I don't know why my phone just did that. Hopefully it's been recording. Looks like it is. And should I do one more white? I think I will, just because I can. Again, I'm just trying to hang on to it while I slip that color in there and keep it tight at the same time. Okay, so now we're on to our last darker color, which we will put in some of the medium and light blue. So I think I will start with the light blue, and I've got a bigger strip, so I'm going to rip it into smaller pieces here, or tear it into smaller pieces because I don't need it to be that long. I don't really want a solid ring. You could do a solid ring, I just don't want a solid ring. This way it kind of I guess maybe does kind of give it an ombre look if you use the right colors in the right way. Oops, slipped out of my fingers. Okay, so slip in another piece. Oh, this is tricky. I lack the dexterity I once had. Okay, should we do one more or should we call that? I think we'll call that good. That looks pretty good to me. Now, it's probably too big, so I'm going to kind of just hold it here and see. Which actually, it's okay if it's a little big, because then it'll just help tie everything together. It'll just sit on top instead of inside. So yeah, that'll work. Except my glue is literally erupting. Wipe some of that off. It's not even a full bottle, so I'm not sure why it does that. I'm just pushing that glue down. So now you have some design decisions. Do you want to just lay it flat on there? Do you want to dome it a little bit? If you dome it, then you've got to glue the background, or glue it so it will stay domed. I think I just want it flat. Yeah, I'm just going to do it flat. So I'm going to put some glue on the back. And I think when we're done, this will look really pretty with some Wink of Stella or the other stuff whose name I can never remember. Yet I bring it up and then I'm like, oh gosh, you know you can't remember it. Does that look pretty centered? I think it can go this way a little bit. How's that look? There we go. Spectrum Noir. Now, when I bought mine, it came in pots. Now they sell it in pens, which is perfectly fine and probably a lot more convenient. I'm just going to want that glue to dry there. So I'm going to let that sit there and dry while I go ahead and make some more of these, because I do like these. I've still got my board sitting here. So I'll do those and then I'll come right back. so we're going to, I'll show you how I did this one. It is a little slightly different setup than what was in the board. So you've got your slotted pen here, and then we're just working around it in kind of a triangle or pyramid shape. So I'm going to start with making a little loop on the end of my strip here. Something about like that. You can do this however you want. You can use the slotted tool the way it's designed if that's what you prefer. This is kind of my preferred method. I don't always use it, but it's the one I think I have the least trouble with. So these end up taking a little less than half of my 10.5 inch strip. So maybe 4 1/4. And I just kind of use the whole strip till I've got one done. Then I cut it off and go on to the next one. If I have to glue one together, I do that just to make the most use of my paper. Because this is so small, you can't really see where it's been glued together. So we're just wrapping around. You go put your loop over your slotted pen, go to the very top of the tallest pen, wrap around, come back down, and glue. And then you're going to go in the direction that you're working, or that your paper's flowing. You're going to go up between these right here, these two outside pins, and your center loop. And you're going to go around this middle pin here, or your second highest pin. Loop around it, come back down, and glue it at the bottom. You're going to come back up to get around this second pin again. Come back down inside the outside pin, or the last pin, if that makes sense. And glue at the bottom. Go around your last pin on either the left or the right, depending on which way you're working. Glue at the bottom and go around your last pin. Loop back and glue. So, I'm going to real quick put my pen in here because I don't know why, but my bottle is still erupting. If I tap it down, I'm sorry, that was probably really loud. Alright, so we'll wrap that around. Make sure it's flush. Give it some pressure. And then you can just lift that off of there. Trim off your tail, except I didn't get mine stuck very good. So I'm just going to hold it. Push this board out of the way. If I get that glue to adhere. Just kind of burnishing it. Alright, so hopefully that's good. So we're going to trim that off. Trim off your tail. And then you're just going to give it a pinch here at the bottom where you trimmed off that tail. It looks like I could trim off a little bit more. Oh, I don't want to do that because it's coming apart. So I'm just going to wrap it. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to put all of these inside, these little flourishes inside the other flourishes. That's not sticking. Try some more glue. Okay, it went from erupting to now it won't come out at all. There we go. So kind of wrap that around. I've squeezed all of my loops a little bit more than I wanted to. I think they'll be okay though. Pin back in. It's already starting to ooze out of there. Okay. Yeah. up squishing them more than I intended. So let me see if I can open them back up a little bit. I don't want that tool. Let's try the needle tool. I'm just putting it at the top of each one of those loops and sliding it in and kind of wiggling it back and forth to open those loops back up. Okay, that will work. It's not as open, but I think it'll be okay. So now we're just going to glue those in, and then we will have this snowflake done. Now, what the other thing to decide is, do I want to put the Wink of Stella? Do I want to put just diamond glaze? I kind of like the Wink of Stella because it adds a little sparkle, so I think I just answered that question. So we're just going to start inserting these. Put a little bit of glue on either end of the tip here, or either side of the tip. Now, unfortunately, they don't nestle down right between two loops because there's 3 loops. So just kind of do your best to fit them in there. You know, if you get enough glue, it will stick. Oops. Let's go with this one now. And again, we're just putting our glue on both sides of the pinched point. And we're just going to push that in. Now, if you don't, well, I was going to say, if you don't make your point too pointy, it won't matter, but actually I can see that it's still sliding between. It's not what it's not doing is it's not just gluing itself to the tip of that center loop. It's actually sliding between the center loop and one of the outside loops, but I think that's going to be okay. Kind of just depends on how far in you push them. So we'll do this one. Then we'll grab our Wink of Stella and finish this guy off. Oops, it's sticking to me. There we go. And our last one, which was the one that we tried to open back up, didn't quite work the way I'd hoped, or as well as I'd hoped. Here we go. We used the tweezers, which are a little bit bigger. Whoops. We wouldn't have been able to get those in before using the needle tool. They were that compressed, but that's better. Okay. So I'm just trying to kind of hold them on the sides, the top and bottom, or the top and bottom edges, I guess. And adding the last little bit of glue. And slide this in. There we go. Doesn't look straight, but that one's already down, so should have checked it before, but that's okay. So you get the idea. So, Wink of Stella, here we come. And we're just going to add it to the top here. Give that a little pinch. Get more of that flowing into the bristles. Just kind of layering that up, and there we go. That back in there. Can we zoom? There you go. There's your number snowflake number 4. So we've got 4 done. 6 more to go. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me. As you know, I am on a mission to reach 500 subscribers in time for Christmas, because I'd like to be able to give away some bundles of these Christmas cards if anybody's interested. So I appreciate it if you like and share the videos or encourage other people to watch. That'd be great. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. But I do appreciate it. So, yeah. Snowflake number 4. And this is a good one. I like it. So until next time, guys, this is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and I hope you have a happy crafty day.